Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, fully recovered from Thanksgiving,
Yes.
diving into these.
I was going to
People are
say,
trying really hard not to check out for the rest of the year, but
we're holding
there's
on for
still
dear
some stuff
life.
to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I am actually gratified that it's only, when we're recording this, it's still very early December, so it feels like there's a little runway before everything shuts down.
Yeah.
But I hear you, it's sort of like brewing in the background.
Yeah.
I
Well, and it's
always,
crazy. I find that it's this time, like you always have those clients who are like, oh my God, we have this thing that's last minute. How soon can you get it up? That seems to like there's just so many more requests like that towards the end of the year. And it's like it gets even harder at the end of the year because you have to lose 2 weeks. Like I was talking to a client yesterday and they said, is 8 weeks enough to get this content? If we kick off Monday, can we have content live 8 weeks from kickoff? And I said, you know what? Like that's kind of just perfect. And normally I would say 4 to 6 weeks, but
mhm.
we're literally all losing 2 weeks out of
Yes,
our life. So you have to do that mental math before you
yeah.
agree to a timeline.
One of our deliverables in our campaigns is this very dialed in timeline so that everybody knows what the dance steps are and
Right.
the clients know what their deadlines and responsibilities are. And even in August, September, there are chunks, just chunks that you lose between Thanksgiving and then the holidays at the end of December. And then they're all taking vacations too. So getting anything back from them becomes like it's fine if they think we can run it because we can. We have staff that are tag teaming those holidays
Right.
as needed. I mean, nobody's working on the big ones. But when we need approvals or they want to be involved in the approval process, it's like, okay, now you're out for 2 weeks, like two
But
weeks,
that's my favorite. Like I always talk up to my team about it. Like when we have a client who's really pushing us, and I say, take our time as tight as we can
Right,
and then make their time. They're saying they can approve in 24 hours. Go ahead and put it in. Like if we lose time because they miss a deadline, like that's not on us. Like we did it.
right.
So like we don't have to like proactively have that conversation. Like we know you're not going to do what you're saying. You're going to like no good is going to come from that. Like just put it in a timeline, have them agree. And then when they miss it, we can push things out. It's just much easier that way to pretend that
Yeah.
you believe them.
This season especially, it's about fairy dust and sugar plum dreams
Yeah.
about what clients say they'll do and what they really can do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. We've had that happen too, where the timeline is plugged in and then weeks go by and they're like, oh, did I not mention? Not only out the 2 weeks at December 20th through the new year, but then I've got this offsite, like it's
Right.
just it is funny how they're like, why haven't you read my mind about my
Right.
calendar?
Yeah.
All right. What are we
Clients.
digging into today?
So I thought it would be fun. We just, by the time this comes out, it'll be last week. Last week released our Sway Group 2026 predictions. So I thought it could be fun to walk through them with you and kind of chat about what we're seeing and see if
Yeah.
you agree with some of
Right.
these.
So the audience understands I'm hearing these for the first time.
Yeah.
You guys,
Fun
your
game.
team has put them together. You've been pretty thoughtful, brainstormy and thoughtful. And now we're gonna, okay,
Yeah,
it's like
I
maybe,
started off with, you know how brainstorms go. So we had a very long list of what we think we're going to see in the next year. And I picked the five that I thought were most likely, most juicy, and
mm,
ran with those. So,
love
okay,
it.
let's see. Well, there'll be some reading here. So the first one is bigger, braver, creative concepts are coming. And what I mean by this, I think we've all seen some of these, like the brands creating little serial type, almost like mini TV shows on
Hmm.
TikTok and Instagram. ClickUp, which is the project management software that we use, they've gotten a lot of press lately for their Instagram account. They hired actors from the Groundlings,
Mm,
improv
yep.
actors, and they have them act out like really funny office scenes. I just think that influencer we're going to see, I think there's still going to always be that influencer content that's like I've done this before. I always do it with my water bottle. Here's this water bottle. I love it. Here's why. You guys should get one. Like that's always going to be a thing. But I think we're seeing a lot more like really big, bold, creative
Yeah.
ideas coming
Yeah.
through in our work.
One of my, like, I will never, that's the hill I die on about influencer marketing is in all of this, it makes so much strategic sense to remember that influencers at their core, if you're activating them in the right way, have these audiences that they've built and they have no like trust factor with them, equity built and familiarity. And so I love what you're saying paired with that. Let them take your brand into real life events, experiential places. Let them take it, yes, have your brief that is here's my water bottle. This is why you should get it. But also how else, like this is why we talk about creators and influencers being mini creative agencies. What are they dying to do with their audience? What are they dying to, and they don't have the funding or the resources or whatever? Get behind that.
Yeah. No,
I like that.
we were doing some just kind of like pre-recruitment last week for a client and just doing some searching around in the athletic space for influencers. And we found this awesome, like dirt bike guy. And he mostly just shows himself doing his dirt bike things, but occasionally he does, and he's very, very popular and has a super engaged audience. And when he does do sponsored work, he incorporates the product into his dirt bike stunts, which is super fun. And it's not like, I don't know, that might not be the first thing that a client would want to agree to because it's not like the actual use case for it. And
Right.
but it's getting a lot of eyeballs and his audience. That's, if he suddenly like stepped off the bike and said, and this is the water bottle that I like, that wouldn't be appreciated by his audience.
Well, there's that connective tissue too between brands who think they want unhinged content and really don't have the internal or regulatory temperament for it. Bridging that gap with influencers who do have relevance for their audience. So they've already established that, tapping into them, letting them weave it in again in unexpected places or surprise places, and letting that be one bucket of content that's out there, not the whole entirety of it.
Yeah.
I've always thought it is time for influencer to get back to more experiential, like not just the trips for beauty influencers to Tahiti or wherever they're going, but there's so many places, and you've done a lot of this over your career. It's just so much opportunity for influencers to create content not in their home studios or not like out in the wild.
Yeah, like I mean, any brand who's going to has any kind of like sponsorship at a big expo or event or like anything like that. If any brand has something where they are participating in real life, bring influencers,
bring a team
to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And let them.
That was actually that was like cutting room floor of the predictions, was more of these in, like life. Oh my God, my brain today. More of these like in real life, live event type activations.
Yeah. Okay. And then to get back to your point though, what you're really talking about is that it's this hybridization or this blend of content that looks like it should belong on other channels, showing up in influencer channels.
Yeah.
Movies, television, even sort of kitschy plays on traditional advertising coming about.
Well, and I think consumers, because are jaded, and we've talked before about how Gen Z especially kind of assumes everything is sponsored, and I think a lot of times that can make them just kind of check out when the sponsored content comes up. And so like taking this more creative approach and pulling in a creative director and a strategic planner and really looking at influencer as something that can be out of the box and exciting and interesting. And like I saw a piece of content a few months ago. I'm not even going to remember what the product. I think it was for Dr. Squatch's soap. And it was this guy made a short, like a really, really weird short film. And in the middle of the film, he basically did a little ad commercial for Dr. Squatch's. It felt almost very like Vitamita Vegemin type ad. Like the product section, the product piece itself was not very creative and was almost kind of
almost
stilted.
intentionally so.
But it was just this
Yeah.
fascinating, super weird short film. And that's what this guy does. And it got millions and millions of views. So it was a win. It was a win for him because he got his film funded. It was a win for Dr. Squatch because they got their product in front of all these people. But like, that's the kind of just like thinking outside of the box and really trying to break through with something that's going to compel people to watch because it's interesting and entertaining despite the fact that it's sponsored.
Right. And the sponsored content is created with that in mind.
Yeah.
It's not that that was an accident, that it was lo-fi and kitschy. It was of a genre that maybe is an homage to the way the ads used to look, or the way people envision ads looking now when they're done really poorly. Like there's all kinds of ways to frame it and have fun with it. So I hope that pans out. I'd like to see more of that.
Okay,
Do you feel like at your agency, you're able to introduce those types of concepts to your clients? Or is that something they'll do?
Our clients want them. So we've been increasingly just working with larger creative teams and trying to get out of the box of just this day-to-day, like, yes, we can get all the influencer content created and get it done on time, and like just try to make sure that we make space and open up communication so that we can bring these big picture ideas. But I do see that the clients want it.
Yeah. And to your point, I think you do this, but what we like to do is that tiering or bucketing of, here are the traditional voices that you would think of that match the avatar. But as we're trying to branch out, get different ideas, explore new territory, here's what that would look like so that the client can at least see it sort of in the wild before they have to imagine because again, I think there's this desire for it, but then the tolerance for the unexpected and really letting go of the reins in some cases. It's like, okay, well, let's take 10% of the influencers we're going to work with and devote to that and keep the mix leaning toward what you've been doing or expecting and see what happens. And then, of course, then there's that paid piece. Like, okay, let's see what lands and we'll put that into the paid rotation and get some more legs under it.
Yeah.
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 All right. What's number
Second
2?
prediction. I mean, this one I talk about all the time, that lo-fi content is no longer a trend. I mean, I think we're just seeing that brands are acknowledging that they don't always have to spend tons of money on a very highly, this is funny. It's funny to talk about this in relation to the other one where I talked about some more of this hi-fi type content into influencer. Yeah. I think we're also seeing the other thing. I've given the example before of the Lindsay Lohan Verizon commercial, which literally looks like her next door neighbor recorded it on an iPhone. Like, it's very, very lo-fi. Like, that content is just kind of getting back to that point of needing to do something to break through and really needing to connect with consumers. I think brands are realizing that influencer style content does a better job at connecting than the very highly produced brand stuff.
Right.
And I think we're seeing that lo-fi content make its way into broadcast media and into, like, we're seeing a lot of creator generated content campaigns where brands are hiring influencers to create the content and then buying it outright for use on their channels. Because especially when you're talking about running paid social, having something that's super, super highly produced and feels very brand is not going to convert as well as something that's looks like it was created by an influencer.
Yeah, I think there's a conversation that we don't have time for today, which is around the types of content and approach that works best across different channels because they're so different. So it sounds to me like you're bucketing lo-fi, meaning it's not branded, polished, produced with layers of creative director approvals.
Yeah.
A set, a sound stage, all of that.
Right.
So there's that, like, okay, influencer is, we've beaten this word to death, but organic feeling. It is casual. It is relatable. It is a little bit behind the scenes. That said, I think the trend I would link to that I predict, and it just came to me as you were saying that, is that what does branding look like between high-fi, low-fi, high production values, low production values. And I strongly believe or recommend that brands need to get better at taking that highly produced content and understanding what are their brand markers. In an executive workshop I just did, our co-host, who's a video analytics platform, talked about how if you see beauty like a hair care video from the brand, you might not know if it's Pantene or Suave or you don't like what is distinguishing. They're all just, I think that they all think that the highly polished is what makes it branded, and it doesn't.
Right.
You need elements. So then we look at the influencer content. Yes, it's lo-fi, it's accessible, it's relatable, but it's branded most strongly to that influencer, right? You and I both know we can look at a TikTok of the same person. It just comes up randomly and go, oh, I know who that is. That's
But
Elise
you
Myers.
can pull brand elements into it. I remember working with Nestle Toll House, and I don't know if you've noticed, like any ad that showcases a Nestle Toll House chocolate chip cookie, like it will always show the melty chocolate because that is unique to Nestle Toll House. If you buy any other brand of chocolate chip and you open up the cookie, the chocolate's not going to still be melty like that. And so any ad that showcases a cookie made with Nestle Toll House chips is going to show that gooiness. Or thinking about like Buffalo Wild Wings and when you're eating a mozzarella stick and showing the cheese pull, and like there are certain, so I think some of that comes down to creator briefing, because yes, it should feel like the creator, but that doesn't mean that you can't also pull in those brand elements to make it also feel like the brand.
I absolutely think that. I think most brands are just lacking that.
Yeah.
They think a logo and brand colors and guidelines is that brand identification. Like if you didn't have a logo or copy on a video, would consumers know that's Toll House morsels versus Hershey versus Ghirardelli, that kind of thing? And reverse, I think the influencers, yes, need to be briefed on what that means. And the brands can learn from the influencers what's working, what's branding, what's setting, what are the influencers taking, seizing, and leveraging as brand identity. And I think it can go both ways. It could flow both ways. But I think that's a real, as content becomes ubiquitous and our attention spans are flooded with more content, branding has to become more strategic. And I think, again, lo-fi is that organic, okay, it's relatable, but I think really good, well-performing, highly performing influencer lo-fi content is still extremely well put together.
Yeah.
You know, it can't just be crappy iPhone footage. Like Lindsay Lohan, Verizon made it look a certain way.
Right.
It's
but
like,
it was still well done. Yeah.
What is it called? Uncanny Valley or verisimilitude. I'm just throwing around,
big words,
sophisticated phrases, big words, where we're trying to fool people into thinking it's lo-fi. There's nothing lo-fi about it other than the production outcomes.
Right. Exactly.
So, and I think the best influencer content also needs to be very intentional.
Yeah.
Even when it's lo-fi.
Okay. Number 3, creators are building their own communities, which I think we've been seeing a lot this year. And so, I mean, there's not that much to talk about.
Well, wait,
here.
Let me help understand among them, like between creators.
No, of themselves. So like creating, like my daughter loves this. What the hell's his name? It's on her Christmas list. Chris Clemens is a comedian who she adores, and he has a YouTube that she watches. And every year for Christmas, she asks for the upgraded Patreon membership to his community. And it gets her access to special content. And I think there's probably like message boards, and I don't even know all the things that go into it. But yeah, I think we're seeing that, like Substack communities building, Slack communities, Discord communities. I just think that, like, again, this was probably on our predictions list for 2025 too, because this has been happening. You can't rely on platforms anymore.
Right.
And it's very important to build up that audience and know that they're going to follow you wherever you go.
That you own that audience.
Yeah. And I think that the one thing I think that we're going to see some maturing of in 2026 is the sponsorship opportunities within those communities, because I think that hasn't been tapped to its full extent yet.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of I think it's very delicate because those communities feel insular and protected, and letting a sponsor in can feel
Could
jarring
backfire.
and could backfire. So I think there's some work to be done to figure out how can brands take advantage of these communities, because for the sake, I mean, certainly like Chris Clemens makes a lot of money, obviously, from these special memberships. But I think ultimately there has to be some kind of sponsorship money pouring in as well. And I don't know that we have yet refined how that works without feeling squicky.
Right. And in my mind, this is the 2026 version of returning to long form content, because you mentioned Substack.
There we
Is
go.
that another
Yeah,
one?
so we can go.
Yeah, because it,
transition to that
it
so you can
has
talk.
to be.
Yeah,
They
so
have to own their content. They have to own their communities or their
yeah,
audience. Yeah.
I love. So 4 is long form content is ready for its comeback.
Your
I
lips
just
to
think,
God's ear.
yeah,
I hope so.
yeah. I mean, so here I'll read. I'm not reading all of these, but blog posts, longer videos, essays, explainers, serialized storytelling are all going to come back into focus. People want context, they want depth, they want more than a quick recommendation. Long form content is where trust is built. And then I end with a zinger. A zinger. Oh my God, am I 85 years old? I even think we might see blogs have a real renaissance.
Well, I
I
would
mean,
hope so.
my favorite food blogger relaunched his blog this year, and he sends out a Substack. So I mostly see him through his Substack, and every week when I get his newsletter, it links to a recipe or a restaurant review on his newly refurbished blog,
Right.
and I love it. And you know what? Like AI search tools love it,
Yeah.
and
What's old
it's
is new again.
yeah.
Well, that's exactly right. It is anchor content. It is there. Is okay. We need the slow marketing movement. That's what that may be cover both of those last 2 points, maybe all of it. Or I think all of our nervous systems are fried. I think the bombardment of content, of just bells and whistles and shiny things, that long form content gives me not only more time to experience that person's expertise, or, God bless the food bloggers who keep telling me why they've written this recipe, despite being harangued online for just get me the recipe. I want to know. Sometimes I want to know. Sometimes they tell me you can substitute this for this, or I had trouble doing it in this air fryer, but in the oven it worked. Like, all of that to me is helpful. But also there's this piece where my brain can switch off. I don't need to hurry and read that right now. Like, the pressure to, I think that's why we all get hooked on scrolling, is like, you see a reel, you see something, well, I got to watch it right now, because who the F knows where it's going after this. I could maybe save it. I'm doing a little bit more of that myself. But knowing this blog content, this Substack content, I just feel like it allows
Well,
us to
have you
take a
seen
breath.
those? I mean, you engage with a lot of food content. Have you gotten that ad? It's like a guy talking, and he said, if you get a lot of your recipes off Instagram and TikTok, you need this app I built. And it's an app that takes the video and turns it into a written recipe.
Well, that's kind of brilliant.
But like, just put it on a blog. Why do I
Yeah.
need
Well, we'll come full circle. Like,
Yeah.
we've come full circle, and I wonder how many. Then there's. I mean, don't even get us started right on AI recipes out there, and I mean, that is really dangerous.
Yeah.
People are going to waste money. They're going to get sick. They're going to waste time. They're going to think it's going to burn.
And I've
down.
tried a couple just because I've been on the record saying I don't do AI recipes, and then I thought I need to try a couple just so I can be like have a
Proof.
I'd like to have
behind
a
it.
reason why I don't do it, not just being crotchety.
Right.
Not good.
We've got zinger. We've got crotchety. I think we're.
Yeah, we're good.
But your final is like, okay.
Yeah, no good.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're gonna end the predictions with one that is more modern and makes me not seem elderly. And that is, I think we're gonna see a lot more of these social first product drops. Where a product gets released just on social, even potentially through a single influencer. Like, think, I don't know, a special color of a lip gloss or a unique scent of a candle, or I'm just looking at all the things on my desk to try to come up with examples, done just through here's this special product bundle that you can only get through TikTok Shop. You can't get it at Sephora, you can't get it at Macy's or anywhere else. I think we're going to see a lot of that, and I'm seeing a lot of brand excitement for that as a really interesting and fun way to launch new products.
You had me until TikTok Shop.
Yeah.
I think that's a shit show.
It's a total shit show, and it's not for me, but I do think where it is succeeding is where it's the only way to get something special, and it's through an influencer who's active on TikTok, and it's an exclusive.
Maybe. I
think that's a way to make TikTok, like, I'm not defending TikTok Shop.
Yeah.
But I think that is a way to make TikTok Shop
pay attention
relevant
to you
and work.
Well, here's my come from is that TikTok Shop is designed to make TikTok Shop look good. So they don't support anything that's not an out of the gate success. So I think it will be a lot of trial and error for those brands that want to launch there that don't already have an established sales pattern.
I don't think it's a brand launching. I think it's an established brand with a special,
so either the influencer or the brand has to have
like,
traction there
like
already.
The Casey color of this t-shirt only available on TikTok Shop.
Right. But I'm saying if nobody's heard of Casey before this.
Right. No. It has to be, the brand has to be established and the influencer has to be established. But I think, and then it's just a way, I don't know. I'm seeing it work, and I think it's going to grow. We'll see. This could be the prediction that tanks.
Well, no, I think
not all 5 of my predictions come true every year, Casey. I'm sorry to tell you.
Why are we even here, Danielle? No, I just hear so much business chatter about how there have been a lot of influencer forward, creator forward brands that didn't have a lot of oomph under them.
And I don't think this always has to be with an influencer. Like, it could be, I'm trying to remember which client I was talking to about this.
So it could be celebrity, could be sports.
It doesn't even have to be, I think this could live outside of influencer marketing, and this just might be something that grows within social media. But I think it could be like, I don't know if you are a sucker like I am for like the QR codes on the Today Show and on like CBS Saturday morning they
tell me more.
Like, they just have this like pretty lady stand there, and they have 5 tables of items, and it's a special thing. Exactly. You're a GMA person. Yeah. And and then they show you the things, and I like literally am looking at the digital picture frame I bought my mom last week off of the Today Show. $65 down from $350.
Yes.
I'm a sucker for that. It's like a limited time. You feel like you're
urgency,
getting a good
exclusivity.
Deal. It's kind of fun. It's exciting.
They gamify it almost.
It's gamified, and I don't think that has to just live on TV. I think limited drops like this work really well on social and can be a great way for a brand to launch something.
Right, and a great revenue driver for the influencers.
Yeah.
Because they're already doing that, I think, to some extent. What I would add to that, from my perspective, is that it is a wake-up call for CPG brands especially to really take a look at their R&D, their manufacturing processes. How fast can they turn around a limited edition, something that hits the moment? And that's not a new trend. I think that's been happening for a couple of years now, where that process has to be much different and much more responsive. So that would be my add-on to that, is brands have to continue to, and this goes back to creative content and that unhinged or that exploratory content. The whole ecosystem inside of a brand is changing to accommodate a lot of the things that you're talking about and be able to capitalize on real-time events, to be enmeshed and immersed in cultural movements and conversations, and then to show up with tangible products that reflect that. Those are the brands that are going to win. I don't think every brand has it in them to capitalize on all of these things.
No.
But nice. I like those. Those are bangers.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice. Now we'll wait and see.
We'll wait and see what happens.
Talk to you next year at this time.
Yeah.
We have to dig out. Did we do this last year? We have to dig those out and see what happens.
I know. That's what I said. I promised in my newsletter that next week will be a report card of how I did for 2025.
You'll unearth them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'll let you know.
Godspeed.
Thanks. See you
All
next
right.
week.
All right. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.